Geno Auriemma is set to join us, the freshly minted head coach of the national champion Yukon Huskies. Did you forget about this feeling? Did you remember what it was like to win a national title?
Almost. We have those moments, our senior citizens, you ought to know. So, but it didn't take long to remember, though. Never ceases to amaze me the feeling that you have when you watch those faces, and it's just really, really unbelievable.
But take me back to preseason, and you said that the girls, they lost a scrimmage.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And is that where you go home and you say to your wife, oh, my God, I don't know what we have here. We may not even make the tournament.
Well, it's exactly what we said. We said, I hope we make the NCAA tournament this year. We didn't take it seriously. We kind of, everybody thought, yeah, we're going to be good because, we're healthy. We got everybody back. But it was a good reminder. But it was a struggle throughout, I would say, November, December, trying to find some consistency. We would have it, lose it, have it, lose it. And I think it wasn't until we got back from South Carolina the first time when we played so well that we actually understood, all right, this is what the level is, this is who we can be, and that's when it all changed.
Is it a grind?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But is it a different kind of, let's say 15 years ago, similar kind of grind?
A little different, I think. A little different. Being that the players I'm coaching today are way more challenged. They're way more distracted. They've got way more voices in their head. They've got way too much information coming at them from all sources of people, things, that it's hard to make your voice really be the voice. Like, when you played, like your coach said, today's Wednesday. You go home and tell, hey, Mom, today's Wednesday, man. No, it's not. It's Monday. No, coach said it's Wednesday. Today, what's your coach say today? I don't know. I wasn't listening. I mean, it's just a little bit harder right now, man.
But you're not dealing, we hear the men's coaches talking about transfer portal, NIL.
Yeah.
How prevalent is that for you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
No, I don't deal with it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. No. We don't have somebody on our staff that's calling AAU coaches and handlers and all that. Is your kid interested? Hey, tell them we're interested, like a lot of schools do. No, we don't deal with that. We just coach our team. We know at the end of every year, because we get pretty good players, and if they don't all play as much as they want, those days I'll wait my turn. Those are gone, so we know that at the end of every year, some kids already halfway out the door when they realize I'm not getting the time that I thought I was going to get. And it's like, we understand we might lose a couple every year, but there's a couple kids that want to come every year. What makes it hard is in the NBA, they have a free agency period of time. This is when you can talk to free agents. This is when you can sign them, blah, blah, blah. Our free agency is the whole year, and every kid. There's 365 Division I schools plus Division II. Every kid's a free agent every day, the whole year. It's just, and then the portal's open during the NCAA tournament. Can you imagine the NBA playoffs and free agencies going on during the playoffs? I mean, it's insanity. So, whew. But luckily, we don't have to deal with it as much as obviously it's happening on the guys. And the money, don't even get me started on the money. Some of the money that I hear programs have to spend, and now obviously it's football and men's basketball that drive this, but it's out of hand, man. It's out of hand.
What was your pregame speech?
What was my pregame speech? Probably, the same as it was the previous 3 games that we just won. We this was our 4th game, 2-2. I like to talk about how many times. This one was really good. I like this one because I said, this is our 24th Final Four. And our record in the Final Four before last night was 11 wins, 12 losses in 23 Final Fours. I said, so I'm the winningest coach in the history of college basketball, but I have a losing record in the Final Four. I said, but when I'm introduced at some events, they go, and ladies and gentlemen, Geno Auriemma, he's lost 12 finals. I said, they don't do that. They say, Geno Auriemma, he's won 11 national championships. So, nobody gives a damn about who loses. They just care about winning. So why worry about losing? Because nobody cares. So I think the thing that I always try to do is try to make them understand to not be afraid to lose, because that's what gets in the way of teams winning. And especially at this point in time in the season, when your whole, career is riding on it, the fear of losing is just so powerful. And I think it's my job to try to diffuse that as much as I can.
At any point during that 9-year, maybe it's not fair to say drought, but for you, it would be. But did you at any point doubt yourself of, am I still able to motivate them? Am I losing it, or, any kind of concerns about you and your coaching?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Because, well, a couple of things. We went to 15 straight Final Fours, but we didn't win after number 11. We didn't win the next 4 or 5 years, 6 years. Out of those 9 years that we didn't win, we went to the Final Four 8 times. And we were never healthy. I shouldn't say it. 6 of those times we were never healthy. So I kept saying, when we get healthy, we'll be fine. But I got to tell you, Dan, I'll be brutally honest. There was so many times when I would go home and I would say, I don't think I'm as good a coach as I used to be. I don't think I'm as able to do what these players need in today's world. I don't know that I can do that, which is crazy because we're going to the Final Four every year. But it does creep into your mind when you're having all these things thrown at you, this injury, this key player's out, that one's out for the season. It really, really, really made me question, am I still the right person to be doing this at this time in my career at a place like UConn where championships is the standard?
And you know how this works. We get to a certain age and people go, oh, how much longer are you going to do it? Be a great time to retire. You just win, you walk off. So how do you deal with this? Just because I decided in 3 years I'm retiring. I just said I have to mark this is when I'm going to retire, or I don't think I would retire.
Is that 5 years ago you made that commitment?
A year and a half ago, I said I would retire. I gave the date I was going to retire.
Good for you.
Okay.
Good for you.
But I needed to do it because there's other things I needed to do. And to be fair with my family and my wife, have you had those discussions of, and I don't know if there's anything else that you want to do, because maybe you're like, coaches coach till they die. It's like, this is what I want to do. This is all I know. I don't know if you're wired that way.
No, I don't know why I still do it, to be honest with you. Most people my age have enough sense not to do it. And I think one thing that helps me, Dan, like when I get back to school and whatever recruiting has to be done or whatever, I would say by the time May comes around, I don't give basketball a thought until next September. I just walk away. I'm done. And luckily I have a staff and I got a program that can do that. But I don't live it 24/7. I don't take it home with me like the way, a lot of these guys do that just wears on them day after day. Now, we have the privilege of doing that because of our success. I get it. If you're grinding it out, trying to make the NCAA tournament every year, keep your job. But I'm not in that situation. And if I was, I would have got out a long time ago. So, I'm able to put it away. And there's so many other things that I would love to do When you retire, let me know, because I'll sit there and ask great questions like you do, and make fun of people like you do. I would love to do that. However, I got an email today from a friend of mine, Tom Sherman, played for played for Penn State, and he played for Joe Paterno. And he emailed me today, and he goes, "Hey, 40 years at UConn." He goes, "It's unbelievable." He goes, Joe Paterno was at Penn State 64 years, so you can still catch up." And I thought to myself, you got to be kidding me. 64 years.
Yeah.
So no, it'll be sometime before that, trust me.
And I'll leave you with this, that you get your women to stay. They're there for years. So you develop a friendship, a relationship. Whereas,
Correct.
men's college coaches, if you're good, it's a 6-month, transaction here.
Yeah.
But you could see that where you with Paige Beckers, you're watching her be this great player, to being injured, to never winning a title. Now is your chance to win a title, and just being overcome by emotion, because it's real. It's like a daughter, I guess. I mean, you're hugging a daughter of sorts in that moment, and you're kind of at a loss for words.
Correct.
It was awesome, though.
Yeah, it is. It is, because we do get them at an age where they're very impressionable, so to speak, and they're 17, 18 years old. And we know if things go well, we do get them for 4 years. We do get to see them at the beginning, and then we get to see them at the end. And we get to see them when they're struggling, it's like raising your kids, and it's like all of a sudden you send them off after a period of time. If this was like men's basketball, there's no way I would even have close to 12 national championships. Diana would have been one and done. Stewie would have been one and done. Maya Moore would have been one and done. I can go on and on. Paige Beckers would have been one and done. All these guys. So the fact that I think it goes back to the old days. It's like the way it used to be. We get them young, and then we, work with them. And it does create a bond that I think is missing in men's college basketball. And football is a little bit better because those guys have to stay, for about 3 years. But now the portals become, look, I'm here as long as I can get what I want. Otherwise, I'm out. And so the coaches feel like, okay, well, if this guy's going to walk out on me any day now, why should I invest all of myself in him or her? I'm just going to coach you, get what I need to get out of you. And if you leave, you leave. If you stay, you stay. That's fine. So it's really kind of created like a professional environment where we're just doing this. And this nonsense about, well, they're not employees. Yeah, they are employees. We're paying them to play basketball for us. And when they don't like their job, they quit and go work someplace else. So I'm lucky. I really am. I've got a great situation, and I know a lot of guys on the men's side envy it, and I feel bad for those guys.
Congrats. Hair still looks great, and thanks for joining us. Yeah.
And I can't believe you're still doing this.
I know.
And
I know.
I tell people all the time, you're one of the few guys in America that ask questions that are way shorter than the guy's answer. And I really appreciate that.
I want a shot clock, Geno.
I like that.
Brevity. Get to the point. That's it. Hey, congrats.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
That's Geno Auriemma. He won 12 national titles there. He brings up a great point, and that is you get to keep your players. And he's right with one-and-doners, that it's hard to sustain that greatness when you don't have that greatness there for 3 or 4 years. We'll take a break. Back after this.